You want to know why I did what I did on the Sabbath? Whatever's going on inside of my dad that made him do what he does, that's what's going on inside of me that makes me do what I do. That's the definition of Christianity. That is cold. I need to wash that thing. How long has that thing been here? I had that in here the other day. Still good. Coffee. Coffee never goes bad. I don't think it does. Hope not. Here we go. John. I want you to look at a couple passages. This is so good. John chapter 5 is one of my favorite chapters in all of John's writings. Seriously. Gospel of John, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, Revelation. John chapter 5 is just bonkers good. It is literally two different types of people that talk about God, who say they love God, two different kinds of religious people. One is what we would call religious and what we would call Christian. And I get in this all the time because I travel and I play disc golf around the country, or I'll be somewhere. And disc golf is probably the main avenue where these conversations come up because you're spending some time with people out in a tournament or whatever. And I will have played by the end of the year probably in 30 tournaments. So I'm out there in the course and like, hey, you're not from around here. I saw, because you have to sign up for the tournaments and you're like online, your state and city where you're from is shown. So everybody will be like in Missouri, or everybody will be in like Arizona or Texas or whatever. And then you have like me, Nashville, Tennessee, or actually I think it's Lebanon, Tennessee is what I put on there. And they're like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing here? And they ask, and you're like, oh, it's just. And I don't want to be like, I'm a Christian, I'm here preaching the gospel. I don't typically do that. But it'll come out, that I'm a minister. And I'm always just very upfront. I'm like, listen, I'm not religious. I'm in love with Jesus. And they're two different things. And they're all like, and so they're just different. And so I want to go into this today. This is something that's been really important for me as of late, because I run into religious people all the time. And people automatically assume, since I say I'm Christian, I'm like them, which is not the case. So I want to go into John chapter 5 to look at this. This is just an incredible chapter. And Jesus, this is so good. This won't take long, but just drink this in. John chapter 5, Jesus he comes in, he's on a mission. He is being led by the Holy Spirit. In fact, from the very beginning, let me just say, you can know about God. And this is the big thing. Well, I believe in God. You affirm facts and information. Like I believe facts and information. That's not faith. Faith is a reconciliation, surrendering my life to the one that I'm walking with and love with, and he's leading me and guiding me, and I walk with him and talk with him and have a personal relationship. You can know facts and information and not have that. I mean, Jesus says many on the day of judgment, they're going to say, Lord, Lord. Not everyone who says, Lord, Lord gets in the kingdom of heaven. So Christianity is not just about going to church, being a good person. I believe in God, no. That's not it. That's not it. It's literally, I'm reconciled. I don't live life apart from him. That's the deal. And Jesus comes into John chapter 5. It's a feast of the Jews, and he's over by the sheep gate area, which no one goes by the sheep gate area. That's where sheep hang around. There's stuff you got to watch where you walk. There's all kinds of lame, blind, people begging for your money. No one wants to be over there in their culture. Jesus is over there. And he doesn't just come in random and start loving on people, which would be awesome. He specifically targets one guy. In fact, in verse 5, one who had been there an invalid was the invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he'd been in this condition for a long time, he asked him if he wanted to get well. I got a whole study on this on our website and podcast. You can track it down somewhere. But when it says Jesus saw him lying there and learned, the verb here learned is the Greek word gnosko, which is a learning by personal involvement or experience. So how Jesus learned about this guy is he didn't come in and hear about it. He didn't come in and someone say, hey, there's that guy. And, oh, he's been there 38 years. And Jesus like, oh, wow, that's interesting. You know, I'm going to go talk to him. That wasn't it. Jesus went over and got involved with the guy, learned about his circumstance. And it's in the active voice, which means he wasn't pulled into it. It wasn't like he's walking through and he got personally involved with this guy, stepped on the guy's mat. And the guy's like, hey, I've been here 38 years. And he wasn't like sucked into something. You know, we all learn about things that we don't want to learn about. Several years ago, I was in Texas and I learned that if you drive without your seatbelt in Tyler, Texas, you're going to get a $350 seatbelt ticket. I didn't want to learn about that. And there's a couple ways to learn about it. I learned about it through personally getting involved. You just learned about it through hearing it. So Jesus didn't hear, he got personally involved. And he wasn't pulled into it. He was pursuing it. So there's an agenda. And so he comes with the guy, he gets involved and just says, get up, take up your mat and walk in verse 8, and the guy's healed. So what happens is the guy that's healed and picks up his mat and carries it. The day this happened was the Sabbath, so the leaders of Israel see him walking by, carrying his mat, and jump all over him, which is so sad because he'd been there 38 years. They knew who this guy was. I mean, the first thing they said was not, wow, you're walking. What happened to you? The first thing out of their mouth is, the law forbids you to carry your mat. I mean, it's just, that's what a religious person does. They're not guided by the Holy Spirit, what they say. They're religious. They're mean. They're law. They're rules. They're that kind of a thing. And so this guy at the end of this all unfolds down to verse 15. He ends up selling out Jesus. Hey, I didn't do it. This guy did it. And so they begin to pick on Jesus. And they say in verse 16, the law basically forbids, what you did. You're healing on the Sabbath. You told this guy to carry his mat. So Jesus, and they're persecuting him is what verse 16 says. So Jesus tells them, he just didn't come in and just, I wanted to do some good things in the Sabbath. He was on an agenda. He was being led by the Spirit. He was walking in intimacy with his Father. He's a Christian. That's what that is. And he says in verse 17, my Father is always at his work. To this very day, I too am working. And so now they're even more upset because his definition doesn't resonate with him. His definition is my Father. What my Father's doing, I'm doing. What my Father's a part of, I'm a part of. What drives my Father drives me. And so they're really upset in verse 18. And then he says, so Jesus says, listen, calm down. Let me use different language. And he basically says the same thing in verse 19 that he says in verse 17. But he says in verse 19, I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees the Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does. And the Greek word Jesus uses there for what he's doing, what the Father does, whatever my Father does, I do. That word for do there and does is the Greek word poieo. And poieo describes how poets give their poems. It describes how trees produce their fruit. It's not just something you do. It's what's like for a tree. You're going to know a tree by its fruit. You're going to know an apple tree because it produces apples. If you go up to a tree and it has pears, it's not an apple tree, it's a pear tree. So Jesus uses that imagery language to describe what he does. You want to know why I did what I did on the Sabbath? Whatever's going on inside of my dad that made him do what he does. That's what's going on inside of me that makes me do what I do. That's the definition of Christianity. See, you can go to church and not have that. You can give money and not have that. You can do the right things out of guilt. You can do the right things out of keeping up, I don't want to go to hell, or maybe for kind of status or, reputation. Christianity is I've been changed from within. I'm different. And why I do what I do, it's a matter of character. It's who I am. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for him. When I show you love and patience, when I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm not doing that for you. I'm not doing it for the people watching. I'm not doing it for any kind. I'm doing it because I'm different on the inside. That's what he's talking about. That's a Christian. They're different on the inside. And so Jesus, that's the whole beginning of the chapter. Well, it's set against people that are also in church, people that are also religious, but they don't have that. And Jesus confronts them by the time you come to the end of the chapter. One of my favorite verses in chapter 5. Listen to this. 39 and 40, two of them. Jesus says, you diligently study the scriptures. Listen to this. You diligently study the scriptures because you think that by them you possess eternal life. Yet these are the scriptures that testify about me, yet you refuse to come to me to have life. He basically says to the religious person, you diligently study the scriptures. All the things you do, go to church, read the Bible, learn what to do, learn not what to do. Don't do these things, do that. You do all that thing thinking that that's going to get you to heaven. It's not. It's not going to get you to heaven. Going to church on Sunday, not using foul words, don't kill people. Big fan, okay? Big fan. Don't kill anybody. Doesn't make you a Christian. See, we get into the scriptures because it reveals Jesus. And when I fall in love with Jesus and receive what he does for me, God gives me the Holy Spirit, transforms me on the inside. And the way Jesus feels, I now feel. What he's doing, I now do. That's what makes me a Christian. So you can be religious and not be a Christian. There's two different things. Two completely different things. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, Jesus was awesome. All right. Until next time.